like the word retiring, nor the word giving up. I'm just changing jobs. I'm moving from training to breeding. Mainly the fact that, regrettably, I don't have the quality of horses nowadays that get me very interested or motivated and to keep me competitive. And I'm a competitive person by nature, have been all my life, and I like to compete with the best, and not having the right horses because of lack of investment in raw material from my yard has put me in a position that instead of now preparing to go to either Breeders' Cup or Melbourne, I'm preparing to go to Wolverhampton and Chelmsford. So it's not that interesting, and I cannot see that changing in the near future. And as I said, I'm very lucky to have another job to go to, and I thought this is the time to do it. You always have regrets because trainers are a bit like farmers. The harvest could always be bigger or should be bigger. So you're never happy with what you won. You want to win more. So yes, I have regrets. Like I've never had a chance of winning the Arc, and I missed out on the Melbourne Cup by a fraction of a pixel. So yes, but what can you do about it? You can't have everything. You have to realise that you're lucky to have had what you had, and you could have done better, but you should be happy with what you've done and to put your mind at rest that you've done as well as you could.
And were you surprised that he decided to?
We obviously discussed it a bit, and I discussed it with him a few years ago when I was working for him about taking over. So I don't think it was a huge surprise, and it's probably a good time to do it. I think he doesn't quite have the firepower he used to have, doesn't have the big owners anymore. But he's got a great group of owners, and I think it's probably quite nice to go on a high. He's had a good number of winners this year, a Group 2 winner, and I think all the owners are still loving being with him, and it's always good to go out when you're still going well, rather than just wait for it to fizzle out. And I think a lot of trainers possibly make that mistake. They go till they drop, and because they don't have other interests and other things to do. Whereas
and he's been quite unique in the sense that alongside the training career, with the help of Mum, they've had the breeding side of things as well. I can't really think of any other trainer that's been a really successful breeder, had their own stud whilst training lots of horses.
Yeah, I mean there are some, but I think to be able to build that as well as the training business at the same time has been, I think it's a huge success, and it's a great thing to have for this stage in his life, in both their lives. They can now work on that together, and I think he can go from training Group 1 winners to producing them.
Well, it's fantastic, really. I mean, what Francesca's done on television is great. She's become a sort of almost the face of racing, if you like, which makes me feel very proud. And Matty quickly established himself as a trainer in Australia and hasn't had good horses yet, but he's had plenty of winners, and the good horses will come. And I'm very proud that he's doing it. I'm very happy that he's doing it in Australia, because I think that it's a very good racing environment where he can flourish and do well.
And what's your day-to-day like here? It's crazy hours. I mean, your mother, our mother, always goes, I mean, Matty, I can never speak to him. He's always far too busy. He's always flat out, and he's doing this and that, and he has no life, and I'm very worried about him. Is it like that?
Well, it is a bit, yeah. I mean, it's
the life of a horse trainer, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty hectic, but I kind of, that's what I like about it. Actually, it goes from it's so varied. In the mornings, you're out first thing, and you're dealing with the horses hands-on. You're feeling all their legs. You're getting to know the horse's character. You're then dealing with the staff, and we've got a lot of young kids here, so you're sort of half playing a teacher role, which is fun and frustrating sometimes. And then you're doing a couple of hours in the office, planning the next day, doing a bit of business management and marketing, and coming up with ideas on how to sell your yearlings and how to get new clients in, and keeping your current clients happy. And then you're off to the races, and you're meeting all sorts of different people. You're watching horses run, and you're at the races, which is great fun. A lot of people do that for fun. It's not a job for most people. And then back in the office and getting the next day organised and back home for 7 o'clock, and hopefully my very patient wife Sarah is
still there.
Hopefully cooked up some delicious meal, and then we have an hour before going to bed. So it's pretty hectic. It's like that pretty much 7 days a week. Sundays sometimes have a bit of a lie until about 7 in the morning.
Whoa.
And then, but Sunday's a great day when we haven't got racing to catch up on office work and plan the next week.
It's just funny, isn't it, looking back how much at the pivotal moments, I suppose, in life. Same for you probably, and for me. Like literally, I think I was in the African bush working on riding safari when Dad called me and was like, "Oh, do you want to go to Australia with these 2 horses?" Because Gonzo, our old travelling head lad, who's about 80 and a bit of a peg leg, he didn't fancy the trip.
Hadn't had his hip replaced.
No, exactly. He didn't fancy the trip down to Australia for a month or whatever it was, travelling with the horses. So we had Sulakwa and Glistening, who just missed out on the Ebor, and Paul Macon, who said, "I want to take these horses from England to run in the Melbourne Cup." He bought them specifically in England to run the Melbourne Cup, and back then it was like, well, that's crazy. Why would you do that? Why would you buy English horses to run an Australian race? But funny how it's all changed now. That's become the norm. And so, then I was back in England looking after these horses, flying out here, had them at Sandown, and then there we were trying to win the Melbourne Cup. It didn't help that I picked barrier 24 for Glistening. Never done a barrier picking since, funnily enough, kept away from it. And then the next year, Purple Moon.
Out wide, Purple Moon in front, Efficient the only danger, Purple Moon in front, Efficient is getting there, Efficient getting to Purple Moon, Efficient is going to win the cup, half a length to Purple Moon.
Purple Moon was a very special horse. He had a great friendship with Francesca, my daughter. She used to ride him nearly all the time, and he and her had a great rapport. So when he finished racing, the owner gave him to Francesca.
I had such a great time travelling with the horses. It was so much fun, and you get to know them so well, riding them every day. And then from working with the horses, suddenly an email out of the blue from Channel 7 saying, "Would you come and be on our panel?"
Was it that much out of the blue? Was it?
Yeah, I literally remember getting the email from Andy Kay at Channel 7 saying, "Would you come and be a guest on the panel?" And I think the idea was just to kind of one-off, like have a bit of an international female influence at Channel 7. And quite a thing to go from never having done any TV ever anywhere to being next to Bruce McAvaney on Melbourne Cup Day.
But probably you didn't
on
know
one
who
of the
Bruce
most
was back
watched
then, did you?
channel, one of the most watched races in the world. No, I didn't really know much about it. I didn't know which camera to look at. I didn't know what the person in my ear was saying. I didn't know what was going on. But
surely
then
that's
that
probably what
just
they
kind
quite
of
liked. I think that's sort of a natural approach. I think.
But then that kind of just took me on a different path in life, down the TV path.
Hello, you all right?
But it's great being able to work in the 2 different places, and even from a TV perspective, I learned so much as a presenter, as a pundit, on how things are done differently in different places, and it really keeps you on your toes, and you have to think on your feet. It's so funny to think, isn't it? What was it, this time 3 years ago that we came here? Was it 3 years ago or 4 years ago? And we were like, okay, let's go and have a look at Ballarat, because you were deciding where to train. You thought you wanted to be here in Ballarat. This was just grass. We were driving around.
Considered this part. This was car park, really, for the Ballarat Cup Day.
Yeah, because we had that meeting with Lockie, do you remember? And
Yeah.
he was like, well, you could do this and that, and plans and costs and all of that. And we were driving around Ballarat, working out where to get your hay from, your feed from.
And thinking about whether we can find girths for 20p less,
20
cents less. Now I just buy the girth, right?
Yeah, but amazing. So that was 3 years ago, and now here you are with how many horses?
Yeah, we've got 65 in at the moment.
Yeah.
And
plans to build more boxes, with this setup looking pretty incredible.
yeah, it's looking good. It's great. And last year we had 50 winners. On the last day of the season, we had 2 runners and both won.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah,
you needed
really
2 to win, and you got the 2 to win to get the 50 on the last day. That was so good.
It was a close run thing, but it went well, and hopefully we can at least match that. Everyone says, well, you've got to go for 100 next year, but you can't just double it.